In this video, I'm going to answer your questions, so stay tuned. This freaking hair coming out of my hat. Okay, here we go. Okay, welcome back. My name is Marc from 12weekathlete.com, and in today's video, I'm going to answer your questions. Because I get loads of questions via email, my social media channels, face-to-face, and I find that, answering them for that particular person is great, but answering them on a bigger scale, like maybe on YouTube, might be helpful for you guys as well. So today I'm answering 5 questions. I was picking, from across the board, so we'll see how it goes. So the first question comes from Theo today, and he wants to know, how do I calculate my body fat? And this is a great question because there are various methods out there how you could do that, and they vary not only in price but also in accuracy. That's the word I was looking for. So there's the most accurate and most expensive way to measure body fat is underwater weighing. It costs up to a couple of £1,000 depending where you do it, because it's a very sort of unique facility you need for it. And what you basically do is you will be dunked into water and you're going to be floating, and there's a scale holding you, and that sort of is because fat is lighter than all your other body parts, and therefore the scale will be able to tell exactly how much body fat you will have. So that's pretty great, but it's, for most of us, it's not accessible. Now the next one, a bit cheaper, is the DEXA scan. DEXA scan is something, it's a bit like an X-ray scan where it scans your whole body and it gives you a very, very accurate body fat percentage. And it's, I would say, even though it's a bit cheaper than the underwater weighing, maybe the discrepancy is a bit higher. So the body fat percentage might be not as accurate, but you will know where it is on your body because it shows in the scan you get back. So that's pretty cool. Now, the next one, which is probably, mid-range, most affordable for most people, is the one which is in a scale. So when you stand on a scale, it's called BIA, biometric impedance analysis. I think that's what it's called. So it sends like a current through your body, and based on the resistance of the current, your scale is then able to tell, well, you've got 20%, 10%, 1% body fat, whatever, right? One, just joking. But these scales are, in terms of accuracy, there is sometimes, I think, there's discrepancy. What do I mean by that? I mean, how much is it out? So if you are actually 20% body fat and you step on that scale, it might say you're 15 or you're 25. And that does make a big difference, though, because if you want to calculate your calories or do stuff like that, you want to be as accurate as possible. So I would actually not really recommend that. Now, a really cheap way of doing it, and the way I do it with my clients, is a capillary test. So I've got like something like that, and you pinch your skin. Let me see, can you see that? So you hold your skin and you pinch it, not with the finger, obviously. You've got like a little tool, but that you will get something from £5 or $5 or something, $10. You can get them on Amazon. I'll link them up here somewhere, and you can, buy one of those. And it's pretty straightforward how to do it. Now, I will, by the way, make a video of how to do it because there are, a couple of methods how to use it. You can do a 4-pinch test, an 8-pinch, a 9-pinch, a 10, a 12-pinch test, meaning you pinch different body parts and then you will add them all up, and there's like a little formula which calculates then your body fat. That's pretty, I think, the best way of doing it. So I'm going to make a video especially on that, and if I've made it already, then you're going to find it here somewhere in a link below or in here somewhere. Okay, so let's move on to the second question. The second question comes from Larry, and he wants to know about Visalos. Visalos is a supplement or a meal replacement shake. Now, generally, I didn't look at that in specific, but I want to talk about meal replacement shakes in general, because I made a periscope about Shakeology a couple of months ago, and I kind of explained what do you have to watch out for. Now I'm going to give you a couple of hints what I think is important. Now, first of all, if the product is way expensive, like, if a shake or these products are over 100, 200, 300 pounds, it rings a bell. It's your first red flag, really, that when the price is really high. The second red flag is when they call or talk about proprietary blends. Proprietary blends is something where the company doesn't have to disclose what kind of nutrition and stuff they put inside because it's proprietary, because it's something we invented. That's utter rubbish, guys. If someone puts that onto their meal replacement shake or onto their shakes, don't buy them, because there's no such thing as a wonder drug or wonder food. You know, it is about what you eat in total, and it's not this one shake which will make the difference. Now, the third thing I want you to watch out for is the claims they make on the website. And especially in the case of Shakeology, I pointed it out that they had 5 testimonials of doctors. And I'm just going to rant on about this one because that's one I know about the top of my head. And that is that these doctors were doctors for plastic surgeon, and the other one was like a normal GP. Now, guys, and what they said is like, yeah, Shakeology is great, you know, it changed my life and I lost a couple of pounds and blah, 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 or utter rubbish. Guys, if there is someone who wants to make a testimonial, just because they're a doctor, doesn't mean to say they know what they're talking about in this term. If we talk about a meal replacement shake, you want someone who has expertise in that field. And a plastic surgeon, in my opinion, you know, he knows as much as anyone else, maybe a little bit more because he studied medicine. Okay, that's fine. But guys, then you should ask a nutritionist or, you know, a dietitian, someone who knows their stuff a bit more. And if they have a testimonial, then, you know, maybe you should think about it. So that's the next red flag. And then, by the way, these testimonials are all bought. All these doctors get money to talk about these products, guys. Don't be fooled by, oh yeah, there's a doctor and he says this shake is great and that's why it's great. These guys get paid for it. The last red flag is that when these people say, yeah, I lost a lot of weight because I drink Shakeology or I drink Visalos or whatever meal replacement shake, just think about it. The meal replacement shakes, they have between 200 and maybe 400 calories max, right? And 400 is already upper limit. But when you have your normal meal, if you replace your normal lunch with a meal replacement shake, and a lunch might be something 600, 700, 800 calories, and you drink a shake which has 300, you do that over 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, of course you guys will lose weight. That isn't rocket science. It is about how much calories go into you and then how much you're burning. I mean, it's the calorie deficit you're on. And if you take a meal replacement shake, you're just eating less calories. That is fact, guys. There is nothing else is why these guys get results with it. And it's not rocket science. It's just something you have to know, and now you know. So I hope this helped you. So the next question comes from Raj, and he wants to know, what's the best pre-workout? What should I take to, you know, get pumped in the gym? Now, you're asking someone who really believes you don't need any supplements. And I stand by my opinion, and my programs and everything you will ever hear from me is you can get everything from natural sources. So again, the supplement industry, in my opinion, is, you know, first of all, it's not regulated. So if you buy a pre-workout booster, because we're talking about pre-workouts, if you buy these boosters, you have no idea what's in there, right? First of all, they're not FDA approved. There's no sort of governing body which takes care of what is inside of these, you know, shakes or supplements. And for that reason, I'm not going to put my name to any supplements where I have no idea what's inside. It doesn't matter how big these companies are. They're recently even bigger companies, I'm not going to name them. They've got exposed for a protein shake, which they claimed has 29 grams of protein per scoop, but actually in that scoop was only 9 grams of protein, which has been tested by a lab which wasn't associated with the brand. So I just want to point out that you have to be careful with it. Therefore, my recommendation for pre-workout is coffee, because black coffee or an espresso. The reason why is because when you buy these boosters, the main ingredient is going to be caffeine and maybe alanine. But, you know, I wouldn't pay too much attention to alanine. To increase your focus, and that has been tested in studies over and over again, is caffeine. So my recommendation is drink just black coffee or you know, a shot of espresso, something like 15 minutes, half an hour before your workout, and you're going to crush it, guys. Okay, next question comes from Jamie, and she is binge eating and drinking on weekends, but for the rest of the time in the week, she's really good eating healthy and working out, but she's not losing weight. So what's my advice? Now, Jamie, this is something I hear very often, and it's not just from you. My clients I see face to face, they have sort of the same problem. They say, Mark, you know what? I don't know, I'm not losing weight. I'm on the treadmill all day, you know, I'm doing this, I'm in the gym, hitting the gym every day, you know, all this stuff's going on, but I'm fat. What's going on? Now, The thing is, guys, it isn't rocket science. What it really is, it is your calorie balance. It is what is going in and what is going out. So what is your body burning and what are you eating? It doesn't matter if your 6 days of the week are good, but if the 7th day, if you just pig out like crazy, you can undo a whole week of weight loss in one day. Freaking fucking easy, guys. You just go out and eat pizza, pasta, loads of dietary fat in terms of cheese and oil and all that stuff. You can eat loads of calories. And then your whole week, whatever you've done, and especially now comes on top because you also binge drinks, and I made this video, which is very popular, is why weight loss, why alcohol blocks fat burning. That comes on top as well. So if you then hork down a bottle of wine, you actually block your fat burning ability on top, meaning that you just hork down all this food, which is a bunch of calories, which your body then starts burning, wants to get rid of it, or wants to store it or whatever, and then you top it off with some alcohol, which then stops that whole process until your body got rid of the alcohol. So at the end of the day, this is really, the easy answer is, that is why you're not losing weight, is because you're not paying attention to what is going on. That one day you go nuts. Okay, so this is something you need to get in control, and that is really my advice. It's not about being, the goody-goody and saying, oh yeah, you were good, and you get a bit of a stroke, and then, it doesn't matter, you can go and have a glass of wine and all that stuff. Yes, you can have a glass of wine, I'm not saying that, but don't go nuts. And if you don't see, especially if you don't see any movement on the scale, it's a very good indication for you're doing too much on this, let's say, in the bodybuilding world, on your refeed day. If you go too crazy, you're not going to lose the weight. And if you're on a weight loss journey, you shouldn't have refeed days anyway. These, if you do a proper dieting regime, you shouldn't feel hungry, like hungry anyway. But I'm going to write my program, which is called the 12-week Chef. You can find that over here. That gives you more information about that. So that's that, Jamie. Let's move on. So last question comes from Meep, and he wants to know, what is the benefit of combining HIIT training and LISS training? If you don't know what that is, I made a video over here. Just click on that. HIIT in general means high intensity interval training, is something like sprinting, and LISS training is low intensity steady state, something like walking on a treadmill. Now, I do think the combination of both is very beneficial. This is something I do in my 12-week athlete, so you can click over here if you want to know more about that. Generally speaking, what you will find on the internet is that high-intensity interval training is always prior in terms of losing fat to low-intensity steady state, like running or like walking on a treadmill. You'll find the afterburn effect and EPOC and all this stuff. And in terms of science, yes, that's true. That you will lose weight in a shorter period of time. You will retain your muscle. You won't lose it like when you do running, like a marathon runner and stuff. Now, just before we dive further into that, I want to point something out. And this is, everyone who believes in the gym, who does high intensity training, I can tell you now that probably 90% of those people are not nearly as close to high intensity training as they think they are. High intensity, when you look at the studies who are all cited and say, yeah, it's really good in terms of losing fat, are mostly done with athletes who are pushing themselves until they nearly freaking die, guys. When they say high intensity, when they say full out 20 seconds, they mean they die on that freaking bike. After those 20 seconds, they need a freaking oxygen tent. And when I see other people on a freaking treadmill next to me and say, yeah, I'm doing HIIT training, they're nowhere near a heart rate of 160, and they're young, so they could go to 190 or even 100, even 200. But the thing is, they're not, because they're not pushing themselves enough. And this is something I need to point out here, because you will only reap the rewards of high intensity training if you do it high intensity. That is really the goal. That said, let's move on. So I just needed to get that out, because I think there's so much confusion and people just don't understand that. Now, the other thing is, there are benefits of low intensity training. For example, if you're a beginner, you don't want to jump into super high intensity training because you have never experienced heart rates really high, especially your elevation of heart rate in a short period of time. So you want to get used to that firstly. So that's why I would recommend to do low intensity training first. Another reason might be you don't like sprinting, you don't like high intensity stuff. then do LISS training. It's going to be better than doing none of them. Another one might be you're injured. If you're injured in your hip, knee, somewhere, whatever, high intensity training might not be good. You don't want to aggravate it, but moving your body could be beneficial. So LISS training is something I would then recommend. So let's say you're a normal type of guy. LISS training and HIIT training, the combination can be great because you will reap the rewards by, let's say, sprinting a couple of times. But maybe there's a nice sunny day outside and you want to go for a run, then you don't have to go outside and kill yourself. You can just go along and, you know, enjoy life a bit, but run and listen to some music. So I would say, I mean, there's more science behind all of that, which I explain in my 12-week athlete. I just want to keep this sort of very short. All in all, the answer is yes, there is a benefit to combining them both. And yeah, I hope this answered your question a little bit. So we're at the end now. If you like this stuff, you know, hit the like button. And if you have now other questions you want answered, if you like this kind of video, then down in the description box below, just type in your questions or hit me up on Twitter or Facebook or wherever you want to go. Ask me your questions. I'm happy to answer them in the next video. Yeah, generally speaking, that's it. And I think I'll see you in the next video.